What's going on, my intergalactic pals? And today I'm going to go over some judge rules, some interesting ones, from given to your anger to Dooku separatists. But we'll get into all that in just a moment. If you're new, hey, please subscribe. It does help. If you have any questions or something you don't understand from cards, feel free to ask. And yeah, check out my other videos, weekly gameplay, box openings. I almost did a case, which is really interesting. And yeah, talking about some cards I really enjoyed from the new set that I think are gonna see a lot more play, especially some new leaders and things like that. So without further ado, hey, let's get into it. And I hope you're having a great day. So to start it off, I'm gonna go into a card called Given to Your Anger. Given to Your Anger is a one red villainy card. It's an event. It deals one damage to an enemy unit. Its controller's next action phase, its controller's next action this phase, must be the attack action. It must attack a unit if able. So the big question is, if I use this on, let's say, Lurking TIE Fighter or something that has the Shadow Initiate equipped to it, uh, what would happen? Well, the way Given to Your Anger is worded is deal one damage to an enemy unit, period. So that is one section of the card. So if you target Lurking TIE Fighter, it deals zero damage. So it takes zero damage. Now, because the damage wasn't dealt, does the controller of that unit still have to attack with it? The short answer, yes, it does. The the long-winded answer is the condition of dealing one damage is not tied to the forcing of the action to attack. Like if it would have been deal one damage to an enemy unit and blank. They put a period, it's just deal one damage to an enemy unit, period. So that sentence is already done. Most people would say, well, it's not dealing the one damage. It can't force it to attack because it never met the first condition. That's not, a lot of things really don't work as it would in other card games, especially Magic. Because in Magic, if you negate one section of text, the second section doesn't usually work. Like pay two life, do this effect. If you don't have two life to pay, you just kind of kill yourself in the game, and you don't get that second effect. You no longer exist in the game. So, or target creature takes one damage and search your library. But if the creature you're targeting doesn't exist anymore because interaction or something like that, an opponent getting rid of it for you, that second card doesn't, the rest of it doesn't fall through. So it's like, so you have to meet the condition, you have to set up the condition, you have to meet the condition, then you progress the condition. Star Wars is very much almost rules as written on the card. There's some clarification. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it does. But with Given to Your Anger, if people are playing this card, I think some people might be playing it. The deal one damage to a unit is not a condition. It's just an effect. Can you deal one damage to a Lurking TIE Fighter? No. It says prevent all non-combat damage, essentially. Um, but the other condition is that unit still exists. The controller of that unit still has to attack with it that phase to another unit if possible. The next card I'm going to use as an example, it's going to be the Droideka Security. The reason why is a lot of people are wondering, hey, if I play a unit with exploit, can I get the undefeatability? And for the so we'll just use that when it's defeated. When this little ship says, when defeated, create a battle droid token. Well, with the Droideka Security, it is exploit 2. When, or not when, wow. While playing this card, defeat up to 2 units you control. This card costs 2 less for each unit defeated this way. So, with that being said, you have to first finish off the payment process. You're essentially on loan. And if you use the Confederate courier as as an exploit cost, that on defeat would trigger when you resolve the pay and any other effects that follow. If droid security said, when it comes into play, it searches for another droid in your deck and add it to your hand. Doesn't actually do that. Then maybe we'll see a card that does that, but uh, but you would resolve cards in the process order. Once that card resolves, you would get the Confederate Courier on defeatability. You would get the droid token then, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, the way another thing is that you can stack triggers, and stacking triggers is very unique in a sense because like Poggle the Lesser is when you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit if you do create a battle droid token. And what was the other one? Masa. I'll just say Masa. His ability is when you play another unit, you may exhaust this unit if you do search the top 4 cards of your deck for a unit, reveal it, put it into your hand, put the other cards at the bottom of your deck in a random order. So if I have both those little guys out and I play, let's just say, Coruscant Guard, I would trigger these effects how I choose. Do I want Masa Munda to go first, or do I want Poggle to go first? Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, and then the ambush. And I have ambush because I meet the coordinate condition now. So I could, in theory, stack my ambush first, resolve my ambush effect, and ready it and attack. Then I can activate Masa effect because I did play a unit this phase, or this phase. I would exhaust him, look at my top 4, pick a unit if there's a unit in there, put it into my hand, put the others at the bottom of my deck in a random order. Then I could Poggle the Lesser, exhaust it, create a battle droid token. It really doesn't matter which order you do it. You can choose the order you want. Maybe I want Poggle to go first because I have something else, and I want Masa to go second, and I want the ambush to go third. It just really depends on those effects, but you can stack these effects in the order that you choose, especially if you're playing other effects that say if a unit comes into play, do this, or um, what is it? Colonel Yarlin, the mono, he's just a solid green unit, where if a green unit comes into play, he'll one from your base. So he's on. You could just stack these. You can nest them how you choose. Not I say stack because stacking is just easier to say, but it's nesting, stack, and things like that. Another thing that came up recently is it was actually one of my videos. Someone pointed out, hey, the Hugh Yang uh, chosen unit, even though it switched sides, it still get the +2/+2. And I was under the assumption because it was no longer a friendly unit to my opponent, it lost the +2/+2. But the rule is, and I made sure I double checked, Hugh Yang says when played, choose another friendly unit. While this unit is in play, the chosen unit gets +2/+2. I play Palpatine. If the unit that they gave the +2/+2 to switches sides either through change of heart, choose sides, or even Palpatine's ability to steal a unit that has damage on it, that unit would still get the +2/+2. Now, if I defeated the Hugh Yang with the unit that I had +2/+2 on, and then it goes away, then yes, it would lose the +2/+2. Switching sides does not change the +2/+2 ability. The only condition it needs to meet was it another friendly unit? Friendly unit meaning under your control. And as long as Hugh Yang is still in play, the chosen unit gets +2/+2. So it doesn't matter what side it's on, that's where it stays. That +2/+2 stays. Just a little tangent real quick, going back to exploit. Exploit does stack just like raid. Raid does stack. So if a unit has raid 1 and you give it raid 1 for the turn, it has raid 2. Same thing with exploit. With Count Dooku, you have the action ability is when you play a separatist card from your hand, it gains exploit 1. So if it already had exploit 1 or exploit 2, it does add to that. It'll add that +1. Unit side, the next separatist card you play this phase gains exploit 3. If it already had exploit 3, now it has exploit 6. Hey, look at that. Um, Additional rulings that were brought up were the exploit 3 for the Dooku on attack ability remains active even if he is defeated. Abilities that let you play a card require you to pay the card's cost unless specified otherwise. I guess there was something that was going on where people thought, hey, I'll play it for free. But that's not how that works on some cards. Clone. I've had a few people ask me about Clone. Clone was a very interesting card, but I do enjoy it. It is a fun card. What does Clone do? Well, Clone says you may have this unit enter play as a copy as a non-leader, non-vehicle unit in play, except it gains the Clone trait and is not unique. It only copies the printed card ability or stats. What does that mean? Well, basic terms. Let's say your opponent has, these are the few cards that I use. One, if your opponent has a Cad Bane and you clone their Cad Bane, you capture their Cad Bane, you get the stuff that was under Cad Bane. You rescue those. If you clone a Crate Dragon on your opponent's side would not see the 7, it would see 9 or 10. It'll see the new printed cost that clone copied. So if I think it's 9. So it'll see that 7, change to a 9. Crate Dragon would say, hey, that's a 9 cost. I'm going to do 9 damage to a unit or a base. That's what that does. As well as Luke, if you clone it as a Luke on your opponent's side or even on your side and a unit died, it'll still get that on-played ability. So just so people will know, so 2 cards. Emperor Palpatine, which is the red villainy unit, which is when played, deal 6 damage divided as you choose among enemy units. So you go through, you choose each enemy individually. You cannot go back and re-choose a unit. So you can't say, oh, that one has a shield, I want to do 1 damage there. I'm going to do 2 damage there. And then once that 1 damage resolves on the shield, I want to do 2 more so I can defeat that. It doesn't work that way. You have to choose all the damage out, and you have to resolve all that damage. Same thing with Overwhelming Barrage. Give a friendly unit +2/+2 for the phase, then deal damage equal to its power divided as you choose among any number of other units. With that being said, you again cannot choose to go back and deal damage to another unit if that unit was damaged with that ability. So with Overwhelming Barrage, you cannot use 1 damage, go to another unit, deal 5 damage, go back to that unit, deal another 1 because you want to defeat it because it had a shield or whatever. All damage has to be spread out, especially with Overwhelming Barrage. If you say, I'm going to do, let's say you have 8 damage and your opponent has 3 droid tokens. Well, you have 8 damage to spend and you go, well, I'm going to do 1 damage, 1 damage, 1 damage because I want to defeat them. Well, now you have that 5 damage, you got to put it somewhere. And in high competitive tournaments, your opponent's not going to be like, oh yeah, you can divide it up back onto the droids. If your opponent agrees to the 1 damage and they start sweeping up their board, yeah, it's a misplay, but you have to divide that damage up into your own units, which is kind of messed up because you messed up. But just be careful when you play cards like this. You have to assign the damage, even if it's over the damage. So if a unit, again, using like a battle droid token with 1 health, even if that's the only card they have and you have 5 damage, you do all 5 damage there. It doesn't matter if it exceeds. You just want that damage explained clearly and where it is going. You cannot double back on a unit. And once, everybody agrees to where the damage is going, you know, that's where it goes. Another card that I want to talk about, U-Wing Reinforcement. It's a 7 green heroism card. It says search top 10 cards of your deck for up to 3 units with the combined cost of 7 or less and play each of them for free. Put other cards on the bottom of your deck in a random order. What does that mean? Basic, as basic as I can make it. You find 3 units that have 7 or less cost, you play them for free, but you do have to play them one at a time. So if I find, let's say, what is it, X-Wing, that comes into play, gives 2 experience to a unit, you play that, you resolve that, or you nest it. Then you play the next card. You have to resolve each effect. You have to make sure all effects are being resolved. You don't just play all 3 down at the same time. You have to play them one at a time. So for each ability that encompasses multiple actions, resolve each action and any resulting triggers sequentially. I think I said it, but I'm saying it in the more rules lawyery way. I think that's all the cards that I wanted to kind of go over, or some questions that I thought were very interesting and kind of wanted to explain everything. If you guys found this useful, hey, give it a like, share with your friend, and if you have any rules questions, maybe some card interaction, please leave them down in the comments below. I will make another video, and as always, be safe in that big galactic world of ours, and I'll see you around.